Wel, bore da Cynhadledd, a mae'n braf iawn bod gyda chi bore yma, a mae'n wych i gweld gymaint ohonoch chi wedi codi o'ch glau ar fore ar ôl diwrnod cyntaf Cynhadledd, felly da iawn eich gweld chi. Fel mae rhain chi'n gwybod, nes i fyw nid nepell o fan hyn ym Mae Colwyn cyn symud i'r de, a bu dad yn weinidog ym Mae Colwyn am 15 mlynedd. Ond mae deulu fo'n olrhain a'i gwreiddiau nôl i Landudno am genedlaethau, ac mae tad dad wedi gladdu ar y gogarth. Morwr oedd yn haid, ond buodd farw pan oedd nain yn disgwyl dad. Dwi'n aml yn meddwl am nain yn ddynes ifanc 20 mlwydd oed, yn feichiog ac yn weddw. Ac yn ystyried pa mor anodd oddi arni hi yn nechrau'r 50au. Dydy stori hi ddim yn un anghyffredin o'r cyfnod hwnnw. Roedd bywyd yn anodd. A mae'n dragedi bod gormod o bobl yng Nghymru heddiw ddim yn gorfod dychmygu sut beth ydy hynny. Mi glywson ni gyn rhywun ddoe fod slodi yn cynyddu, gyda slodi plant ar ei weitha yn y Deyrnas Unedig. Mae'n sgandal fod Llywodraeth Lafur Cymru wedi methu dros 5 mlynedd ar 20 i gael gafel ar yr argyfwng yma. Faint ohonoch chi sydd yn gwylio Call the Midwife? Mae rhaid i fi gael dwi'n dipyn o fan. A braint oedd actually gweld cyn-gadeirydd Blaenau Gwent yn actio yn ddiweddar Ben Owen Jones yn y sioe. I rhaid chi sydd yn ei ddilyn o fo oedd yn yr Iron Lung. Ac i'r rhai sy'n gwylio fo yn rheolaidd, ydych chi'n gwybod bod yr hanes, dyfodiad a dangos newid yn yr NHS dros y degawdau. A mi o pethau yn anodd. Roliwch ymlaen 70 mlynedd i heddiw. Ac bod y dechnoleg wedi symud ymlaen, mae'r anghydroddoldebau sy'n difethau'n cenedl yn amlwg iawn o hyd ac yn dal yn amlwg ar feddyliau pobl dwi'n ei cyfarfod ar ddrysau ar draws de-ddwyrain Cymru, o Gasnewydd i'r Coed Duon ac o Gaerffili i Garleon, yr un ydy'r stori. Roedd gobeith mawr y meddyliau pobl yn ystod yr etholiad diwethaf. Roedd yr arddewid mawr o'r Partnership in Power i fod i wella pethau. Roedd y Tories wedi ei lluchio allan yn gyfan gwbl. Roedd pethau i fod ar ei fyny. Roedd addewidion yn sgil 4 mlynedd ar 10 o gynni, o docio, o danwariant am ddod i ben. Ond na, rhith oedd y peth i gyd. Smoke and mirrors, go iawn. The minute they got into power, the U-turns began. It started the moment they could see the winning line getting closer, their promises got smaller, and their excuses piled up. Even the mirage of ambition for Wales disappeared into thin air. Nowhere is this more stark than the Great Welsh Train Robbery, HS2. That so-called England and Wales project that has not an inch of track in Wales. Labour used to agree with us that Wales deserved funding for HS2. They used to demand £4 billion when the Tories were in government. At one point, the Transport Secretary even suggested it was £5 billion. But now, when they actually are able to do something about it, imagine our surprise when the Secretary of State for Wales tried to pretend HS2 didn't even exist. The Tory tradition of appointing a Secretary of State for Wales who represents Westminster in Wales rather than Wales in Westminster is alive and well. For the Treasury to claim that a railway line between London and Birmingham benefits Wales as well as England is both an insult and an injustice, particularly when experts have actually found that HS2 will have a negative impact on the Welsh economy. Meanwhile, its construction will cause delays for those using trains in Wales. So I asked them, I was at an interparliamentary Finance Committee meeting this week with the Chief Secretary of the Treasury for 15 minutes. In my capacity as the Senedd Finance Committee Chair, he gave me some excuses, but no real acknowledgement of the millions or even billions that we're owed. All we get is excuse upon excuse. And to quote Barack Obama, excuses are the tools of the incompetent to build a bridge to nowhere. But Conference, Plaid Cymru do things differently. We want to build bridges to a better, more prosperous Wales. I want you to imagine for a moment what we could do with £4 billion to spend on our transport network. We could create a Wales that is connected, north to south, east to west. We can ensure that bus franchising is a success and ensure that the most dominant mode of public transport, bus travel, is invested in properly. Currently, for every £5 spent on trains in Wales, only £2 is spent in buses. That needs addressing. We could electrify the North Wales main line, a promise broken by the UK government. We could expand the metro plans across Wales. With fair funding for Wales, we wouldn't have to just dare to dream. We could make connectivity a reality. This is why we need a strong Welsh government led by Plaid Cymru to call out the hypocrisy, to demand the end to the HS2 injustice, and who understands the need for Wales' focused plan for our transport network. But national change must be matched by local action. While we've got our eye on the Senedd elections for 2026, let's not forget that we have our local elections in 2027. Because Wales needs our hard-working and dedicated councillors, and I know how difficult it's been. I know how your hard work is recognised, but not just by me, but I'm sure by everyone in this room and beyond. You are the front line of our party. The dedication to your community, the hard work you carry out, and the impression you create is crucial for our success, and all under very difficult circumstances. It's a difficult time because councils are being forced to do more with less, stretched to their limits. It's a difficult time because you are left to fill gaps created by the failures of the Labour government. It's a difficult time because you are battling to balance the books while demand for vital services soars. Labour promised an end to austerity, but that promise has been exposed as a lie. Labour's claim that they are not raising taxes on working people is ringing hollow, when the reality is that Labour are hitting people in the pocket. Be in no doubt that the council tax increases are a direct result of austerity, devised by the Tories and continued by Labour, which again left councils having to do more with less. They want us to believe that the most recent budget is perfect, that they've done an amazing job, that they want a pat on the back. But it simply doesn't meet the need. Until a government in Westminster or Cardiff, or in their case both, ensures that local services are properly funded, then local councils across Wales are going to have to levy one of the most inequitable taxes there is, council tax. Labour's national insurance contributions increases will have a devastating impact on our councils in Wales without the money being replaced like it is in England due to Barnetization. UK government still hasn't confirmed how much they will be offering to Welsh councils, leaving our local authorities in the dark. We will fight for fair funding. We will fight for fair funding for Wales, and we'll fight for fair funding for our councils. We will review the funding formula for councils and make sure we build on the use of a funding floor as a possible mechanism for delivering this. The other aspect I want to finish after the next election is the reform of council tax and ultimately replacing it completely. We made great progress with the cooperation agreement. We should have been delivering on it this year with a long-awaited re-evaluation and change to council tax bands, but that was before the Vaughan Gethin scandal and yet another Welsh Government U-turn. I have regular meetings with our group of council leaders and the Council Association. I hear what it's like on the ground in our councils across Wales. Ensuring the link between local government and the Cynhadledd is a strong one has been a key priority for me. Strengthening the link between local government and the Cynhadledd has been a key focus during my Senedd term and my role as the Plaid Cymru local government spokesperson. And it's been fantastic to see local authorities championing campaigns like devolving the Crown Estate. Equally inspiring is the success of the free school meals programme, now being rolled out across Wales. This policy, debated and developed in the Cynhadledd for years, has been implemented by our local government with great impact. Would it have happened without the cooperation agreement? No. Labour previously voted against Plaid Cymru's support for free school meals. But thanks to this policy, we've probably done more to tackle child poverty in Wales than Labour has across successive governments. Even when we're not in power, we influence government policy. Because without Plaid Cymru, make no mistake, we would not have free meals in primary schools. Now, imagine what we could achieve if we were leading the next Welsh Government. That is what's at stake for our country, a fairer, more prosperous land that leaves no one behind. The fact is, the so-called partnership in power between two Labour governments is nothing but empty words. Worse, actually, it signalled a rowing back on policy promises. The Crown Estate, goodness knows what they think of that. Demanding our missing billions from HS2. Labour in Wales voted against it. Fixing the unfair funding formula. Yes, you guessed it, Labour voted against that one too. I firmly believe we have the foundations for people who have never considered voting for Plaid Cymru to come across to us. In the last few months, I've detected a notable disdain towards Labour Party in my regular street surgeries. This has been present in some of the strongest heartlands, like Newport and Rogerstone. When we were out knocking doors one afternoon, a woman in the Somerton area of Newport recently asked a member of my team in a very stern voice, "Are you Labour?" When they replied, "No, we're Plaid Cymru." Her expression and tone softened immediately, and she replied with a smile, "That's all right then." But is it any wonder? The removal of winter fuel allowance from so many pensioners and the backtracking on compensation for the 1950s-born women who have suffered pension injustice have fueled much of this anger. But there is also a general feeling of disappointment after that long 14 years of painful years of rule under Tories. Our communities are being served up yet more Tory policies dressed up in a red rosette. Labour is hemorrhaging support. But at the same time, we have a Plaid Cymru team that has an ambitious vision and a real commitment to addressing our community's most pressing issues. Because it is vital that Plaid Cymru steps into the vacuum created by Labour. If we do not, a resurgent far-right is waiting in the wings. They may be led by the usual snake oil salesmen and grifters, but they are better organised and they're better funded than they have ever been before in their many previous guises. We can beat them with hard work. We can beat them with door-to-door campaigning. We can beat them with positive solutions to the problems that our communities face. And we have those positive solutions. We know what needs to be done in health, social services, transport, housing, education, the economy, agriculture, and the environment. And I'm proud to be part of the team ready to take on that challenge. Conference, for the sake of our communities, for the sake of our country, We must beat them and earn the trust of the people of Wales to deliver a government of renewed energy and fresh ideas and build a bridge to a better future. Diolch yn fawr.